The topic of this nanocast is 5G environments and why a multi-vendor approach really benefits the operator. I'd like to introduce Oliver Korfmacher, our Vice President of Technology for the Telecom Group at Enea, to talk about Enea's vision here and the benefits of a multi-vendor approach. Oliver.
Thank you, Fergus. I want to briefly talk about multi-vendor versus single vendor. Let me quickly define it. A single vendor design is when a telco decides to buy all stuff for a specific domain from a single vendor versus an approach where the operator by intention decides to select multiple vendors to deliver solutions, products in a best-in-breed fashion to have a more flexible network. Let's quickly compare these two approaches and be honest about it. For example, one benefit is that if you select a single vendor, the integration might be a bit less painful because obviously a vendor, if you have a single vendor for all products, they're all using the same platform framework from that specific vendor, and the integration task and the integration risk is with the vendor and not with the operator. That has somewhat of a positive impact. However, in a multi-vendor scenario, you need to integrate multiple vendors. But given that decent evolutions in both automation, orchestration, but also in 3GPP standardization by defining the exact standards, how to connect elements of a network, they mitigate pretty much the risk of integration because modern software technology, modern orchestration pretty much allows full automation of the integration process, including stuff like continuous testing, which very much reduces the cost of a multi-vendor design to be very competitive. On the pro side, we believe that a multi-vendor scenario, according to 3GPP standardization, sort of forces the design into something where crucial parts of the whole network are owned by the operator. So, for example, the data model of the data layer in a 5G network, they are no longer something that are with a bespoke, obscure single vendor, but they are perfectly open, they are well-defined, and they can be controlled, and they are owned by the operator themselves. He can add and modify the data model at will to bring in new vendors, and is no longer relying on some single vendor who might be not so happy integrating competitors here. So that very much gives a large amount of openness and a large amount of flexibility to the operator. Plus, it requires the operator to build a certain knowledge to understand what in their network is happening, and that's exactly what we believe is what operators are doing these days, because they understand their network better. They have the required skill sets to design their own architecture here.